are here with Richard Paso, and this man has an experience that he's going to share with us, and we're going to go into detail about this devious plan that the Democrats have. It's actually kind of frightening. When I watched this video, it came through my Telegram account. One of my viewers in the chat, what is it? MustangMedic Digital Soldiers. You think I remember that? I clicked on a link, and I watched his short little video. It wasn't little, it was short, meaning short timing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, the light bulb went off in my head. I'm like, that's what the Democrats are doing. Rich is going to get on. I know I talk a lot, but I want to at least summarize this first. But I'm sitting there and I'm going, the Democrats can't be that stupid. I know you guys think, Kamala, and President Biden, I know that makes you cringe. They can't be that dumb and get in the position they're in. They can't be that dumb. So why are they ignoring the border? Joe Biden gave them the whole, we're going to have Camilla be the czar, and then she does nothing. Why? Why did Rich, do you know how to pronounce that guy's name? They're trying to do the articles of impeachment. What's his name? Mayorkas? You know what I'm talking about?
Mayorkas.
Oh man, I messed that up so bad on the video. Thank you.
Anyway,
I can't say his name. You say it for me again, one more time.
Yeah, Mayorkas.
Thank you. That guy, for 3 years he's ignored the border, Homeland Security, head of Homeland Security, and they're going to impeach him, and everybody's celebrating. But there's a reason. I'm like, there's got to be a reason why he would ignore his job. And they want him to come across, and that's what Rich is going to share with us about his personal experience with somebody that came across the border how many months ago?
So there's two situations. One situation, it was within like 5 months, and another situation was within about 6 months. But the locations they went to were different to get this kicked off. And this is the part people really need to understand is these people aren't stupid. There's people educating them in their countries where they're coming from. They have roadmaps lined out. They're told exactly where to go when they're traveling. They know exactly where they can get away with things, where they can't get away with things. And it's not just something that they gain experience-wise in just a matter of days. There's a coaching program, and these countries have different organizations, relief organizations that are teaching them and telling them how to go about doing this. And the first guy I encountered, he came to the shop and he wanted a job.
And how long ago was this?
This was about 6 months ago.
Okay, 6 months ago. Go ahead.
So he comes to the shop, he wants a job, and I'm like, do you have paperwork? Do you have anything? I mean, you don't even really seem like you can barely speak English, and all my customers and all of us, we speak English, but there's a few guys that are bilingual that can speak Spanish. So I had to go grab somebody from the back, bring him up to the front, and then I started interviewing the guy. I said, what do you have to offer? And he says, I'm good with painting and I'm good with handyman skills and stuff like that. I said, what do you have to offer me as a shop? I run this shop. I'm the boss of this place. I have to have some kind of productivity for you in the line of business that I don't know. And I said, do you have papers? Are you legal to be here? Anything? And he, no, I just got here or whatever. And I said, man, I can't really hire you, man. Maybe in the future, because I'm not getting a lot of people applying, but I'm also not trying super hard to get people to apply either. So it's part my fault, but I actually don't need the help. But I was considering, and I was like, you know what? I don't want to do this. I'm not going to hire somebody and be part of what's going on and perpetuate this problem.
Right, exactly.
And I'm not going to do that. So I told the guy, look, I'll have to pass. I would be interested because you seem like you're a guy that wants to work. But at the same time, I don't want this, not this way.
You don't want to hire an illegal.
It's not, I don't want to hire an illegal, man. I need this to be legitimate. So the guy left, he left. He wasn't really mad or anything like that, go try the next place. And I'm out in the parking lot. And the ironic thing about all this was I was with a police officer in his personal vehicle programming some stuff in his Ford F-150. He wanted some things turned on and turned off and the transmission strategy reset. And I'm sitting there on my computer and I do work too. My guys aren't the only ones that do work in the shop. I take some stress off of them and I'll do the jobs. They don't like programming. I love programming.
It
So I
wasn't the
went
world
out.
of being self-employed. Okay, go ahead.
Right. You got to do everything. I'm taking
Yep.
out the garbage. I'm cleaning up trash on the road because in Chicago they just trash everything. So every day I'm out there and people are like, I thought you were the manager. You were like the co-owner or whatever. And it's like, you still have to do these things, you know, um, but anyway, I'm programming and I see a car pull up behind me and there's a female in the car. And then this guy gets out and I'm looking at him and I was like, Ruben, is that you? And the guy comes up to the window and he's got no tact. Like I'm in the middle of programming this stuff and he comes knocking on the window and the customer is sitting in the passenger seat and I'm like, roll down the window and I said, hey, what's going on, man?
I'm
And he said,
working here. I'm working here.
yeah. I said, I'm in the middle of programming right now. I can't really talk too much, but hi, nice to see you again or whatever. And he says, moment, you finished moment. I says, okay, all right. Just
Let me interrupt, Rich. What's the
yeah.
time period from him meeting with you, then he's illegal, and this time that he's talking to you? What's the time period?
It was about
Four
four
months. About four
four
months.
months.
Okay,
Yeah,
so he came in illegally in 4 months. Did he say how he came in, other than just that he came in?
coyotes
Oh,
getting
he
him
came in with
through.
Coyote. Did he say how much he paid?
Coyotes got him all the way. So it was about 1,500 to get into southern Mexico, and then once he got to the northern border, he needed to turn himself in. But there was a point where he got forced into letting a coyote take him the rest of the way, and he was like, "I didn't know exactly where to go," and I paid another $5,000 to that guy.
Wow.
Yeah. So they
Wow.
got so the guy got him to the border where he needed to be to turn himself in, and he turned himself in to start the documentation
So
process.
his whole plan was to pay the big money, get the
Right.
coyote,
Yeah.
get there,
Yeah.
and then go ahead.
And then he gets to the border, he gets documented as asylum seeker, and then he gets transported off to wherever he wants to go. So if you want to go to
Wherever
New
he gets
York,
an option where he wants to go.
oh yeah, you tell them where you want to go. And what ends up happening is there's a security team on that bus, and that security team will watch over that bus, and their job is to take you from point A to point B. And now if you get off in between when they stop for fuel or whatever it is, they can't stop you. They can technically just write you off as long as you made it out of Texas, that's all that matters. And so he gets to Illinois, goes to Chicago, says he knows somebody there. And this is what they're doing is they already have family members that have snuck in from before in these cities and stuff like that.
Yeah,
And they
let me
know,
interject. There's 64 million people illegal in this country. Go ahead.
right, right. So they know somebody somewhere that can get them to some location or housing or something. Most of them do anyway. Um, And so the guy comes up to the window and he's knocking on his. One moment, one moment. Mind you, this is he's already been here at the first encounter. He's been here about a month, and then 4 months later, in 5 months total, from when I first originally or he originally got here to when he came back to see me, he's all happy and excited and stuff. And he says, "No work right now." And I said, "Really? I thought you were going to work and pick blueberries before or something like that in Wisconsin, living on some farm or whatever with the farmers, and they were going to put you up in houses and just." Yeah, with my other coworker translating for me. Yeah, I did that for a couple weeks and then I was pushed out to go on my way. And then I started working for a construction outfit, cash, but now it's cold out. So they're all laid off and I'm looking for more work. And I says, well, how can I hire you, man? You're illegal. And he said, no, 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 senor. He goes to reach in his pocket and he says, a driver's license. And it's an official one with like the Illinois holographic stamp and stuff in the back. And he
So
says,
it did have the holographic stamp.
yeah, it had the holographic stamp. And then he pulls out the social security card that's in this little white envelope, and he pulls out the card and he says, "Oh, look, I social security card in a Secretary of State little white envelope that you set it down in." And then he says, "And work permit," and it's got the Illinois holographic outline in the center of the work permit ID.
And his living arrangements.
Living arrangements, collecting money.
So
Didn't think
he's paying like $500, and the government's covering the rest of the rent.
he's pocketing the money because he pays up front the $500 and then he puts the rest of the money in his pocket.
From the
He
government.
wants, yeah, yeah.
Hang on, Rich. this is what happened. He shared this on video,
Yeah,
and we're going to have a link to it so you can see it straight from him, the one I saw.
yeah,
And the light went off, and I'm going, there's 10 million illegal immigrants that have come in since the Biden administration took over. Okay, January
yeah.
20th, 2021, almost 10 million have come over. This example is just one of what he was able to do. So they're obviously going back, communicating with their families, going, get over here. Look at what I did. So this is my concern. And we'll go into the other subject matter you're talking about. My biggest concern is, have they done this with 10 million? Have they
Yeah.
done this with 10 million? It's very possible if he was able to do it in 4 months, and I know you've got other things to say. This is the biggest concern: is they are going to pack 10 million votes with these. That's why they haven't dealt with the border. That's why they wanted to take the fence down in Texas. This is they did the jab back in the election in 2020. Now 2024, they're going to do it with illegal immigration, and that's why they're leaving the border open. Go ahead.
So anyway, I try to tell the guy, I'm like, hey man, I wish I could hire you, but I still don't feel right about this, man. I can't hire you. It's morally, it's not something that I want to do or be involved in. I know it sucks, but I ask in my translator, hey, can you just tell him, hey, we can be friends, man. If you want to come by and say hi every once in a while, just shoot the hay a little bit or something like that. Talk, say something to one of the guys. There's two other guys that speak Spanish there that he laughed and giggled with a little bit from when he came in the first time, and I have my guy come up there all the time to get a feel for who I hire if they don't communicate like we do, where I can communicate with them. My technician that is bilingual, I trust him very well, and if he doesn't feel comfortable with the person, I won't hire them. And they made friends, they talked a little bit and stuff like that. But I brushed the guy on. I said, "Look, man, come by and say hi anytime you want. I can't hire you. I just can't. I can't do it." So and he went on, and he was wearing when he left he was wearing the construction company's gear that had the construction company's name and stuff on the back of it. And I should have thought to myself to grab that name, but I just wanted to be done with the situation, Hey, just whatever, man. I'm not about any of this illegal stuff. I don't like it at all. I don't want them here, to be honest with you. It's ruining a lot of our structure and stuff in our neighborhoods and
Neighborhoods.
stuff like that. It's it's sending the wrong message to the community.
I
It's sending
yeah yeah. I
it's
saw the
sending
community acting out with just screaming out that they're losing their benefits. Christmas time, they didn't get their turkeys because of all the illegals that have come in. But it now makes all the sense. That's why they're busing them everywhere. I mean, I didn't know that. You just educated me on the fact that they can choose where they want to go, which is shocking
yeah.
to me. Well, tell me about New York. Didn't you tell? Is that the other story?
So there was a guy that came in and I actually felt bad for this guy, but I still had to do the right thing. The guy is probably 23, 24 years old, young guy. But he had a different, darker complected brown to him that you could tell he wasn't from like Mexico or he wasn't the typical Venezuelan that has a little bit of a white color to their skin. He was like from in Colombia. Like no, it wasn't Colombian. What I don't know if it was like
He looked different. He looked different
Honduras,
than typical Spanish person.
Honduras. He might
Honduras.
it was
Okay.
like Honduras or something like any, but he made his way to Colombia and he wanted to leave Honduras because for one, he felt like the gangs were getting too bad where he was at. He wanted to provide for his family. He wanted a better life for him. And it wasn't to really flee political persecution or anything like that. He just wanted a better life for him and his family. So he goes to Colombia and he buys a small piece of land in Colombia. This is some of the stuff you didn't hear yet. I just brushed over it. He buys a little piece of land in Colombia with some of the money that he's had put away. And he says, we started building a little home on this little piece of land that we bought. And as we went through like Venezuela and stuff and everything else to come up to Colombia, however the route is that he took, um, somehow he was in Venezuela before he went to Colombia. And he says, they actually followed. No, that's what he was. He's not Colombian. He's Venezuelan. He's from Venezuela. That's where he's from because he said the Venezuelan cartel followed me to Colombia, not just him, but all of the people that were leaving. And he said it was really odd because they let us travel all the way there. They didn't stop us. They let people get settled. And then once they got settled and started putting their homes together and stuff over this few month period, you can see this little uptick in violence. And they kept finding these people from Venezuela and Colombia doing it. And he said it almost seemed like they were paying off the police to leave them alone so they could come attack us. And there was some kind of money laundering scheme going on between Venezuela and Colombia, because he said they they came into our little small subdivision village or whatever that we were building. They started throwing Molotov cocktails on our home. They started burning stuff down. People started running and screaming. And they were just like afraid for their life because these guys were doing all this stuff. And then they fled out of nowhere after they set all these homes on fire. And what does the Colombian government do? They come in with the Colombian police. And he's like, "You think I'm lying about this stuff?" He says, "Sir, senor, I have all the videos here." And he started showing me all these videos. And he said the Colombian police came in, the government came in with these big bulldozers. They started pushing everybody's homes up to the center of this land where they were building it. And they told them to get the hell out of there.
Wow.
Leave. You paid for this land and now it's not yours anymore. So he said, I had no choice. I left and I started making my way to the United States.
And he did it through Mexico, right? He came through Mexico and
He
got
went
across the
through,
southern border.
he was instructed how to go through Mexico to get up and what path to go to. And
Who was he instructed by? Did he
there
say?
are people along the way that work for different agencies. It could be um it could be like Red Cross, or it could be like whatever that IMCO or
Are you saying
IMOC.
American agencies are guiding them across the border?
Yes,
Yes.
yes, yes. They are one of the direct people I keep hearing come up in these stories over and over again that have given them maps. They've shown them how to go. They've shown them what people to talk to. A lot of these supporting agencies are helping these people come here.
So, so let me interject. Let me summarize. So you met a gentleman that came across the border illegally. 4 months, 4.5 months later, approximately, he comes back. He's got his paperwork. He's got his social security card. The government's paying his rent. Um, and he got a car, right? He had a driver's license.
He had a little Ford Focus, yeah.
Yeah, so he had a Ford Focus. He had a driver's license, legal driver's license. So this guy can vote,
Yeah.
right? He can vote.
Yeah.
Okay, so people, our American government is escorting people from Venezuela or through Mexico. They're ignoring the southern border. They're trying to take the fence down. They want to sue Texas to get the fence down. It's like things that make you go, This is it's not ballot harvesting. It's bringing 10 million votes in to swing the election with illegal immigrants. Or I can't say illegal aliens, and everybody gets upset. They're immigrants. They came across the border. They didn't do it legally, and our government is helping that happen. That is the huge story that Rich is sharing. He shared it. I mean, he did it so casual. My head was like, my head exploded when I
When you
realized.
hear it,
Go ahead.
when you hear it as many times as I do, at first I was like you. I was like, what? But I've heard it so many times from different people that are coming here that have come to Chicago where I'm at, that this is normal now. It's not even abnormal anymore to hear this because they're all coming through the same way almost.
And this has been happening only since Biden took over, President Biden.
This way, yes. I mean, there's
Okay.
all this way, yes. It's all because these people, they believe Biden is daddy. Biden is he's doing this because he loves immigrants and stuff. And I have to educate them. No, he's not. He's using you. He's using
Right.
you for a vote. The Democratic Party is using you as a political pawn, and you guys don't realize this.
They don't care. Why would they care? If I was an illegal, right? If I was an illegal and I had a family and my other family members made it across the border and they're contacting me and they're finding out that the government's helping them get in, the government is giving them money, the government is giving them ID, social security number, driver's license. He's pocketing the money from the government, buying a car with it, and the Biden administration is bringing all the people in. 10 million. What are the odds? Just 3/4 of them. That's a huge amount of votes to swing an
And you
election.
know, something that's kind of ironic recently, the more we've been talking about this whole ID thing and how easy it is, all of a sudden, within like the last week, there was an article popped up out of Chicago that says somebody's getting in trouble because they've been passing out fake that look real, and they've been selling it, and they work directly for the government. So there's a whole nother sector here we can go, and they're making money on multiple fronts here.
Who's making money? The cartel's making money. Is somebody in the government making money?
The cartels are making money.
Yeah.
A lot of the people from like Venezuela and Colombia and Mexico, their government is working with these cartels. This is a fabulous way for them to make money.
And what's so alarming about it, and I've shared this in other videos, is the child trafficking and the trafficking of women. There's probably men being trafficked.
Yeah.
You always think of the children and women first, but everybody's getting trafficked. So they're not getting treated like with the 5-star hotel or 4-star hotel. We know. I'm not going to go into the details about it, but we know what happens with trafficking and child trafficking. There's kids going across the border by themselves, right?
Well, a lot of these families are, some of these like before it was this easy, you would hear stories from people coming to Chicago where they were on the Darien or the Darien Gap route and stuff like that, and some man snatched up a child from a family while they were in the middle of it, and that child was now going to be that man's child, because when that man got to the border, it's easier for a father and a child, or a mother and a child, to get in than it is for a single person to get in. And now their focus is, and this is what I'm worried about, their focus, if that's it, and the law is changing to where they're going to start sending more single people away and allowing families in to take care of them with the restriction at the border, then are we going to see this huge uptick in children coming up missing again, and paying for children to be given from the families to other people? Yeah, that's what it looks like, and they do that. They sell their children to these people, or they're forced to give their children by the cartels so they can help people get into the United States. It's not uncommon.
And our government is supporting it. Our government, meaning the Biden administration. That's why, that's the light bulb moment. It's always been we care about, they don't even talk about it. Look at the guy's name the head of Homeland Security. 3 years they're impeaching him. Okay, yeah, they're impeaching him. But the big story here is that our government is actually helping them get in. And of course they're incentivized. Like I said, if I'm illegal and I'm down there, I got my kids, my family members are telling me what they got, like this gentleman, right? This guy that came across who was talking to Rich about getting a job. Who would not come? Who would not come? Of course they're going to come, and they want a better life, and they're being allowed in, and they're getting IDs. They are harvesting votes from the illegals, guys. That's the big story, and that's Rich's story. And go ahead, Rich.
The gentleman that ended up at the border, the Venezuelan guy that got ran out of Colombia, he paid about $12,000 total through multiple people, and he was like, one point going into southern Mexico, we almost got caught, and we had to run back into some brush somewhere, and then we had to go back off into another area where there were a bunch of trees and stuff, and then we had to walk hours out of the way. And then he said it took like another half of a day to go around this whole entire area because there were a lot of police around there. And I'm thinking to myself, at that time, it makes sense. They weren't just ushering them through as much. You could still get in trouble. They could snatch you up and say, give me some money before I let you go. The police were in on it. The cartels are in on it. Give me whatever you have. Give me your daughter. Give me your wife or whatever, and then I'll let you pass. Well, they had to route themselves away from the standard route that people were taking because there was a heavy police presence, and they were like, should we listen to these people that are saying, oh, just keep going, you'll be fine, or should we try to make our way around it? And the coyote that they found said, no, you don't want to go. The police will snatch up people randomly here. Not everybody.
The police force is the Mexican police force?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not the American police force, it's the Mexican police force.
Right. So
okay, I want to make sure that was clear.
Right. They routed themselves around this police area and where they had to go around in southern Mexico. And then they finally got back on their path. And this guy says, man, we were walking for days. We would try to find any kind of water, food, whatever it would be. I had some money put away, but I didn't want to use it for stuff if I didn't have to. And then he said, we got to the northern border. I got coyoted in and dropped off and given to somebody at the gate. And he says, at that point, I tried to turn myself in, and he goes like this. He goes like this. I tried to turn myself into the police, but they were not even really interested in documenting me right there. There was so much going on, and it was so busy. They just kind of ushered me through with all the people that they were bringing in to be documented and looked at, and I was pushed on through without even being documented. And he
Yeah,
said,
the U.S. So you're talking about U.S.
right at the U.S. border, and
Okay,
he
yeah,
said that.
and what happened with me? I went to McAllen, Texas, and about 2 months after President Biden took control. You know, and we saw the beginning of it, and we heard from the police their experiences, how dangerous it was, and they I understand the struggle. I
Yeah,
understand the struggle. I mean, you can tell Rich cares. I care. You know what I mean? It's wrong. But the biggest crime of this, just to get votes, is the sacrifice of children, women, and men that are getting trafficked. What's happening, to ignore the trafficking, is criminal. It's criminal. Just to get a vote, they're willing to risk these people's lives, and these people are willing to risk their lives because they know when if they get in, they get into the it's called no man's land, and what it is it's the partially built fence, the wall that President Trump had, and Biden stopped it right away, stopped building it right away. Things that make you go, hmm. Biden stopped it, so there's big gaps. Some of them, border patrol agents are protecting like 4 panels of fence and a gate, and then it's wide open. And what they do, I saw a white bus go in with tinted windows, and I asked the border patrol agent, what are they doing? And he goes, oh, they pick them up in no man's land. I'm like, what do you mean? So they're driving around before they even get to our fence and picking them up in white buses with tinted windows. You can't see inside the windows. The bus drives out. I videoed it, and I'll keep
yeah,
it. I'll put a link at the end of the video. I videoed it, and then they go to these white tents. They put them in the white tents. They're completely closed off, so you can't see. And I did a video. I got a little corner, and I was able to see everybody in there. And then they escort them out in a line on video, and I shot the video. They get on the buses, the big giant, big buses. What are they called?
rock
Metroliners.
star, like the big rock star buses.
Yeah, like those buses. And again, tinted windows. And that's when they're moving them out. Now I thought to myself, okay, good job, Abbott. Let the whole country feel the pain. Let those sanctuary cities feel the pain. And then they're asking for federal funds. So they're funding it with federal funds to help keep them in. They're escorting them in. They're picking them up outside of our fence. Not that it's hard to walk through because all the gaps because of Biden. And then they're processing them. It's a machine. It's a machine of our own government that is doing the trafficking, and they're doing it again for votes. So it's
Yeah.
not they can't control the border. It's a democratic plan to fill it. That has never been reported. And Rich, when he said it, his firsthand experience, I told him he's got to get on it and share this because it's a huge story. And I mean, let's wrap it up. Rich, what else do you want to share? I'll be
Well,
quiet, but go ahead.
just I'll summarize the portion after the gentleman didn't get processed in. He realized, wow, they're not going to put me on a bus somewhere to go somewhere. I do have some money put away as an emergency. And he said, what I did was when I went into the Darien Gap, I knew I would probably get my money and stuff stolen from me, taken from me. So he said, I pulled my pants off and I cut the seam of my pants open and I rolled my money up real tight. And then I started shoving it in the seam of my pants in these little slits that I cut. And then I sewed the seam back up, just a couple stitches at each area, and then I go where I shove some more money, and then I put my pants back on. So when the cartels in the jungle come out and they surround a group of people with guns, they ask for everything. They'll take your money, they'll take your cell phones, and I didn't have anything. I put my hands up. They made us take our clothes and stuff off. They searched for everything, and they couldn't find my money because it was in the waistband of my pants. So when he got to Texas, he had some money in his pants. So what he did was he took the money out of his pants in his waistband, and he went and bought a bus ticket for $300 and went to New York because he knew he could get processed in real easy in New York. So he went straight to New York. He got processed in there, documented right away. They put him in a little shelter and stuff for a while. He still had some money left over over the little bit of time that he was there, he accumulated a little bit more. I said, well, how are you getting money while you were in New York for that first month? And he says, Home Depot, painting, woodwork, minor stuff like that. If a contractor needed help, I saved up some money, and then I knew I would have a harder time keeping a job in New York. So I paid a lawyer after all my paperwork was done and I was documented, supposed to have ID coming, supposed to have social security card coming, a work permit coming. What I did was, as soon as I got my ID, which only took like a month and a half to do, I paid a lawyer $1,000 to use for me to be able to use his address, pick up the mail, and send it to me in Chicago whenever the social security card and everything came in. So his work permit ID came in, his regular ID came in. He got out of there. The lawyer is going to send him the social security card when it shows up. He already paid him the $1,000 retainer to do this job
Is
for
this
him.
an immigration lawyer?
I don't know who the lawyer. He just said
But
lawyer.
it's a U.S. lawyer.
It's a U.S. lawyer. And once that paperwork came in, he's supposed to send it to me, but he said, I've already got confirmation that everything's coming. The lawyer's already emailed me. It's going to take a couple days for it to get here. Here's all. He pulled out two giant manila folders of documented paperwork that he's been accumulating since he came here in a 6-month period. And I'm like, I've never even seen this much documentation on my own life in the military, the files that they give back us back.
Thank
This
you.
dude has, you're welcome. It was an honor. So this guy has these 2 manila envelopes that are like 1.5 inches, 2 inches thick of nothing but papers. And I'm like, you accumulated this the 6 month that you've been here on your journey? And oh yeah, it's not hard. It's easy. I'm just looking for a job. And I said, look, man, I appreciate the videos. I appreciate your story and everything like that. I understand you got paperwork in front of me that says you're legit legal to work, and it shows how the company's supposed to put in his I-10 or whatever it's called to claim taxes and stuff like that. But it wasn't the actual official ID. It was paperwork. So I misunderstood him at first when he said, oh, I got my ID, my work ID. He had a driver's license, but he never actually got a work ID. He got paperwork, legal documentation from the government that had information for his employer to hire him.
How long was he in the country when he had gotten his driver's license?
A couple months.
A couple months, 8 weeks?
Yeah. Yeah, a couple months. Yeah, he said as soon as he went to New York, he started working on that stuff right away. And within like a month and a half total, he'd already had his driver's license.
So in New York, he gets there a couple of months after he gets across the border, goes through a very traumatic experience, survived. He's obviously, when you're desperate, and these people are desperate, they don't have the lifestyle that we have at the moment. They get it when they get in here, but they're desperate. They're going to do whatever it takes. They're not going to be, a lazy person. They're going to, of course, they want to stay. But 8 weeks driver's license. To get a driver's license, tell me if I'm correct. Don't you have to have a social security number? I always had to give my social security number when I got a driver's license, right?
They're not doing that here.
Not in your state?
No, I know a guy that came here before all of this, like 3 years ago, before all this started becoming real easy, and he came here illegally. And I met the dude when I was at Home Depot. He seemed like a cool dude, and he speaks really good English. He's from Honduras, and he told me he never tried to get his driver's license until about 4 months ago. And all he had to do was go on the immigration site, figure out how to schedule an appointment to go to the DMV. He scheduled an appointment in Spanish to go to the DMV and take the written test. And he studied up in the Spanish driving test book where you can study everything. A week later, went and took the test, passed the test. A week later after that, went and took the driving test, passed that. But he said, I felt like I was being targeted because the people that were running the DMV they're African American, they're black, and this community right now is being hurt probably somewhat the most by all of this because they're outraged. They're moving into their areas. And he said, he said, look here, I did everything correct on this driving test and I followed everything by the book. And when I was done, the lady looked at me and told me that I failed the test. And
And then where did you go?
He said I rescheduled for another driving test, but I found a location that had predominantly Hispanic run. And when I went there, I did the driving test, no problem, and they passed me and I got my driver's license. And he's never been documented here.
Right. So he was here 3 years, and then the Biden administration gets kicking. He finds out that he can handle his paperwork, and he handled it in 2 months.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Okay, so that's the summary of it. Thank you, Rich. I really appreciate you taking the time. Tell them your YouTube channel.
It's Ford Boss Me. I do automotive content, but lately I've been focusing on a lot of the stuff that's going on that's affecting our lives and our community, because I think if creators are not spreading the awareness, if we're not doing our job to get the word out there that what's going on is an invasion, this is not right, and this is something that the world should be outraged about, we need to speak about this, and not enough people are doing what me and you are doing right now. So it's Ford Boss Me.
Okay. So, of course, I'm going to tell you to visit his channel, subscribe. He's got a very active account, and he's producing content that's real. I looked at him and I watched the video. I'm like, this guy is real. So the two of us bonded. He's kind of like a brother from another mother. What service were you in? As
Army. I was with
Army?
the 10th Mountain.
Yeah, great. We bonded, and he's real, and you can tell the stories are real. I don't know how we fix this. The election's in what, 8 months? Less than that, and they're in here. They're in here in numbers, in massive numbers. He just gave a couple of examples. Who would not be sharing that to their friends in Mexico that they had that experience? Who would not try to come? Who would not try to come? So basically, the Democratic government, the Democrats we have, are inviting them in for votes. That's the summary. That's the evidence of Rich's experience, and we have to do what Rich is doing. We not only, we got to share, reporting on it. Rich is reporting on it. We got to spread the word on this, because I haven't seen anybody. Rich is the first person I saw talking about his experience with illegal immigrants, and such a short period of time. Such a short period of time. They've had 3 years to do this.
Yeah.
I'm predicting that there's at least a 3/4 of 10 million people have got driver's licenses, have social security numbers, and they're going to vote. And who are they going to vote for? They're going to vote for the people that invited him. What is he called? Uncle Joe? What's he called?
Daddy. They were saying Papa Biden and
Papa
Daddy Biden.
Papa Biden. So Papa Biden is saying, "Come on, people. Come on. We're going to give you everything. We're going to give you, who wouldn't come? We're going to give you housing. You're going to stay in some nice hotels in New York. New York's crying, we got an issue. They all know. They have to all be in on it, because they want the votes. And they've got the votes. What are we going to do about it? Contact your congressman, congresswoman, contact everybody in the government, be outraged. We have to start with our voices. Pick up your placards. I'm not in Washington, D.C., but start protesting this. We have to bring awareness to this. We are getting our country stolen from us, and they're doing it with people from outside of our country so they can hold on to power. This is William Wieting, and Rich, go ahead, pronounce your last name for me again.
Richard Paso.
Richard Paso, reporting to you what is happening to our country. And thank you for watching. I'm speechless, which has never happened. You want to summarize and say goodbye, Rich?
Guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting both of our channels. And if there's anything that you can do to get the message out, share the videos as much as you possibly can. Get them out there. America needs this right now. Every one of you out there need to be active in this, voicing this, aware of this, sharing this, and being outraged about this enough to where you're involved in your community meetings, your city meetings and stuff. Get involved and start talking about it. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Rich. This is William Wieting from MustangMedic reporting. Breaking story. Be aware, because I'm thinking this is the first time you ever heard it. I thank you to Rich. Thank you, sir. And thank you for sticking with us till the end, because this is important content. You need to know this, and we need to activate. Contact everybody in the government you can and be outraged about this. We cannot do what we did in 2020 and be the silent majority and just go, okay. And for the Black community, look at what they're doing. Look what they're doing to your cities.
Yeah.
I see you crying out to the local government. The federal government is doing this. We got to activate. We are all one together, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That means every color and every creed. We're all the image of God. We are one, and we have to get our country back. It's too important. We're at a breaking point. I went long. Sorry, Rich.
All right.
I tend to talk too much.
It's all right.
Thank you. Support his channel. I'm going to set up a link in my description that will take you right to it, so you can go and follow this man. He's real. We're real, and we're bringing you a real message. Thank you for watching.